otherwise be infringing. Non-profit, educational, or personal use sources such as criticism, comment, music, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that may otherwise be infringing. Non-profit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
Hey guys, welcome to my channel and welcome to another video. Welcome to Crime Tube with Mish. In today's video, we are going to be looking at the Carmelo Anthony case, but we're going to be looking at it in comparison to a young man named Caysen Allison. We are going to, along with Mrs. Jill Coyle, look at the details of the case, how the case, the adjudication of it, and then at the end, what the outcome was. So let's jump right on into that. Thank you guys for taking the time to check out my channel. If you are new here, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. As I said, my name is Just Me CMB. If you have not hit that subscribe button but like true crime videos, man, what you doing? Just what you doing? Come on out here and let's make this thing happen together. Let's jump on into the video.
Breakdown of the Karmelo Anthony case, but I wanted to take a different twist to it than what a lot of creators are breaking down, because the case is obviously still ongoing. Karmelo Anthony, the prosecution just rested this last weekend on a Saturday. The judge required the jury to be there on a Saturday. And
now, first of all, that was very unique. It really seemed like he was really pushing this thing along, which I mean, he definitely had the right to do so as the judge. I guess he called himself protecting the integrity of the case. I think that the fact that a lot of the individuals who were uh, testifying were minors, we don't usually have minors, when it comes to cases like this publicized. So that's kind of that on that. So I don't know. I didn't, I really thought that he did the situation a disservice. He did protect the jury and all the things, but where he could have been more helpful, he was not. Now, I don't know if he is actually in conversation, a friend, cordial with the prosecutor as well as the father, which is one of the rumors that has been put out. I thought it was basically not true, that it was AI. And in today's society, you really don't know the difference. But whatever the case is, I mean, we still have the ability to see. Now, the other thing that I stopped the video for to talk was because she mentioned that they had to be there on Saturday, and that um, something else she said about the case. But the fact of the matter is, obviously, that the case has now been adjudicated, and the outcome obviously is public.
the defense now is going to start their case Monday, June 8th. A lot of the internet's a little bit divided. Like, is this murder? Is this manslaughter? Is it self-defense? And Carmelo Anthony should be acquitted and not go to prison for the rest of his life for this. So the internet's pretty divided, but I wanted to talk about a case that one of my followers brought up to me about, the Caysen Allison case. This was a case that happened in Texas as well. There's a lot of similarities and a lot of differences, and I want to talk to you about that. So what happened in the Caysen Allison case is on May 3rd, 2022, at Belton High School, an 18-year-old Caysen Allison and a fellow student Jose Luis Ramirez Jr., became involved in a confrontation inside the school bathroom. Now, according to evidence presented at trial, Ramirez threw the first punch during the fight, and then Allison was carrying a knife and he stabbed Ramirez multiple times. Ramirez managed to leave the bathroom, but then collapsed in the hallway and later died from his injuries. So now the prosecution's theory in that case was Allison intentionally escalated a school fight into a deadly encounter by bringing and using a knife. They presented evidence that Allison had anger toward Ramirez.
You guys obviously hear the similarities.
Before the incident, because supposedly Ramirez had been bullying him, and argued his actions were criminal. Now the defense argued self-defense. Their position was that Ramirez and his friends had been bullying and targeting Allison, and that Allison feared for his safety when confronted in the bathroom. The defense emphasized that Ramirez threw the first punch and Allison reacted in that moment. There's similarities to that to the Karmelo Anthony case, because there is evidence that Austin Metcalf pushed Karmelo Anthony first. In the Allison case, the jury did not convict him of murder. And the jury had actually several options, just like the Karmelo Anthony case.
Now, one thing that I do want to try and do is show you guys the video. It's interesting that after hearing him, it was said that Karmelo could not have been afraid for his life, which I find very interesting that they could make that assessment when they are not in his body. They don't know his thoughts, his feelings. But then you turn around and you hear the him in the video, and it's like, how can you say that he did not have fear? He sounded afraid. Now, we could go back and forth all day, and maybe we will. I have had the intention to talk about this case for quite some time, and because it is still moving forward, we definitely have time to do that. The thing that just really was interesting is just the fact of them trying to say what his situation and intentions were. So here is the video that they're saying has all the details on it. So let's jump over and look at this real quick.
Frisco 911, what is the location of the emergency?
We're at Caysen Stadium. My friend just got stabbed.
For the first time, the larger public is hearing
I have an athlete that was stabbed.
and seeing what a jury had to before convicting Karmelo Anthony of murder in the death of Austin Metcalf under this Memorial High School tent. Late Friday, the 296th District Court in Collin County released most of the evidence presented at trial. The 911 calls played in court detail the struggle to keep Austin Metcalf alive.
Stay with me. Stay with me, Austin.
A coach testified to doing compressions. You can hear the chaos in the background.
Is he breathing? Yes, ma'am.
One witness testified it was Austin Metcalf's brother, Hunter, you mostly hear.
Come on, Austin. Come on, Austin.
The state's evidence shows
Now, it was said that Austin was the one who actually did the compressions and all the things, but I don't think that's true at all. I think it was that he was there. And quite frankly, I mean, nobody would blame him that it wasn't him, because goodness, I mean, imagine this is your twin. You were born with this guy, so emotionally, you probably wouldn't be in a space to do it.
the moments of the altercation under that tent, but not clearly. The video spotlights Karmelo Anthony's movements immediately after the stabbing. Anthony runs down the bleachers, runs toward an exit. A jog turns into a slow walk. There were student witnesses who testified to pointing out Karmelo Anthony as he left. Anthony would ultimately walk out onto the field where he's intercepted by a coach. It is there an officer makes first contact.
I'm gonna put your handcuffs for now, okay?
The officer's body camera footage was also released. The moment Anthony is sat down and handcuffed. This is where we hear Anthony record it for the very first time.
This is the alleged suspect.
Prompted by the officer radioing others.
No, I'm not. Well, I know how it goes. I'm not alleged. Okay.
Carmelo Anthony's handcuffed and walked to a police vehicle.
Let me tell you something that I don't know if others have talked about, but I'm going to be honest with you. I feel that this young man may be slightly delayed. Sports and all the things he's done well. They said he had 2 jobs, made good grades, all that beautiful, great, whatever. I still think he's delayed mentally. Just listening to him talk and the lack of understanding. He said he knows how this goes, but he really does not. And he made that obvious with the way he handles things in this situation. And I would guess that this is probably also why he was not asked to um, talk for himself on the stand, which some attorneys feel it was a good thing, some not so much.
Is recorded saying this.
He put his hands on me. I told him not to. He put his hands on me.
Whether Carmelo had remorse would come up in court. The court also released a number of photos. Some we have decided not to show because they are graphic.
Now, y'all heard him. We can all argue semantics, but for me, he not only sounds remorseful because, oh my God, why did he do it? Why did he do it? He put his hands on me. I was afraid. He didn't say this, but this is what I hear when I listen to him. I was afraid and I had to protect myself. Why? He put his hands on me. I told him not to. He put his hands on me. Now, again, some feel as though, why didn't he just leave? My understanding was that he tried to leave. Now, they showed us this part of the video, but I'm quite sure that same camera was running 5 minutes earlier. Apparently, he at one point did try to get out, is my understanding of the tents, but maybe it was later than the victim who passed away wanted him to, so he had already engaged him physically. Whatever the case is, it is not okay. We understand that this young man did not go home, but it's still not okay that he put his hands on another person. He doesn't have the right, nor does he have a right at a public school to tell this young man where not to be. Even if it is under his tent, he still had a right. He did not have the right, to tell him that.
Can show you the multi-tool folding knife with a 3.5-inch blade used in the stabbing.
So that was the weapon. A lot of people questioned that. I get that it's not. They said it was more like a Boy Scout tool. I don't see the other little pieces that are obvious. When they said that, I thought it was something totally different, but it may not be long. It's still a knife, in my opinion, though.
Half-inch blade used in the stabbing. It was found 9 rows up from the bottom. Also, Anthony's blue backpack, where the knife was pulled from. There are also multiple photos of the memorial tent where coaches and first responders did triage on Austin Metcalf. There's a photo of blood on Carmelo Anthony's finger while he's seated in a police car. There are even the moments before the stabbing. Carmelo Anthony walking onto the stands, passing tents, and video of Austin Metcalf walking into the stadium for the very first time with friends. All moments before the stabbing that would change the lives of 2 families and leave one teenager dead and another convicted of murder. In Dallas, I'm Jobin Puniker.
So that's that. Let's go back over and finish the video with Miss Jill.
Had murder, manslaughter, criminal negligent homicide, and then not guilty. And after approximately 12 hours of deliberation, the jury rejected both the murder and the manslaughter, and they then convicted Allison of criminally negligent homicide. That verdict tells us that the jury apparently did not believe prosecutors proved beyond a reasonable doubt that Allison intended to kill Ramirez or acted with the level of recklessness required for manslaughter.
So they're saying that this young man, although he hit him with a knife several times, was not intending to end his life. But this young man who hit him once and then left to go get help, they're saying that he did intend to end the life of the young man.
So instead, they concluded that the cause of death through criminal negligence, a much lower mental state under Texas law. And he ended up getting sentenced to 10 years in prison. He got the maximum punishment. The judge, even though there was a super emotional sentencing, and he had teachers and people coming to on his behalf saying, giving him basically mercy. The judge says, I'm giving you the maximum amount. You're getting 10 years in prison. Obviously, this case was super controversial because there was two camps. There was people that believed the sentence was fair. Allison did bring a knife to school. Romero's died from multiple stab wounds. A school fight should never become a homicide, right? And bringing a deadly weapon demonstrated awareness of risk. There was also others who believed that murder was never appropriate. Romero's reportedly threw the first punch. There were allegations of prior bullying. The confrontation happened quickly, and the jury rejection of murder suggests that they believed intent to kill was not proven. We know that in the Caysen Allison case that Jose Romero's threw the first punch. The Karmelo Anthony case, the problem, for this defense is that at least so far, they had a ton of witnesses come to the stand that they testified that Karmelo Anthony was under another school's tent. He was asked to leave. He refused, and then he produced a knife.
So the thing about that is, he was under another school's tent. They didn't pay a mortgage. That is not in a fixed tent that will always be there. It just happened to be there at that particular time. It was raining cats and dogs outside. He was trying to keep himself from getting wet. He was at another location before trying to stay out of the rain and was told that him and other people had to leave. He went into the tent because he saw someone that he knew and went to have a conversation with them. Now, the unfortunate part of that is that the other guy wanted to distance himself from the situation, and because of that, he tried to allege that he did not know Karmelo, but that's neither here nor there. The fact of the matter is, where did those children ever have the right to tell another child that's equal to them what to do? In order for him to have been adjudicated a murder, in order for the facts that she just stated to be of value, that means that they had the right at any given time over this young man who they were telling to leave.
After a relatively minor physical confrontation. I think that's the biggest difference. In the Caysen Allison case, it was actual punches. In the Karmelo Anthony case, from testimony, Austin pushed him. I do want to talk about some of the facts. I'm not here to lean one way or the other, but the size difference of Karmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf was pretty dramatic. Karmelo Anthony.
Not only was it dramatic, it was two of them, two twin brothers walking up and over this guy. Now, without speaking and without Karmelo telling us, I don't know why he didn't concede, which means just give up position and leave. But he didn't have to. And see, that, I guess that's where one of the problems is. It's understood, or it is expected by even this Austin guy, that because he was who he was and he was smaller, that the fact of him telling him to leave was supposed to hold weight. Why? And then with Karmelo, the fact that there are two of them and they are almost 25 to 30% bigger than him, I mean, that in and of itself is enough to provoke fear in a person.
Then he was 5'9", 130 pounds. Austin Metcalf was 6'1", 240. Austin clearly had friends around him. Austin has a twin brother. There's been a real hard, the prosecution has wanted to keep the twin brother out of this, which I don't think really helps.
I feel that they kept the twin brother out of it because they did not want him to be susceptible to charges. Let's be honest. the brother was not there messing with Carmelo alone. He was with his brother. And so because he was with his brother, um, he could be susceptible to charges if it went another way. So when this first started, the brother and mom were doing interviews and things, but once it got close to the legal, going to court and stuff, they kind of kept him back.
because it looks like they're trying to hide the fact that there was brothers there, like could possibly maybe put Carmelo Anthony in a state of fear. But a push obviously is not justification for a knife to the chest. That's the prosecutor's themes. That was their entire case. It doesn't.
And I have to be honest, I don't disagree. But the thing was, it's like they say, who brings a knife to a gunfight? But did he bring a knife to a gunfight? We can't say that he did, because in order for him to have brought a knife to a gunfight, he had to know there was going to be a fight. That's number one. He had to know that this situation was going to happen. He had to have provoked the situation to happen. He just happened to have something in his backpack. The $1 million question is why? Did he bring that because he was afraid? Had he already been bullied? What? You see what I'm saying? So that was a situation that they definitely should have elaborated more on. And I fully agree that he did not have appropriate counsel. I mean, he almost had a prosecutor on both benches, and that's so unfortunate.
Doesn't matter what Austin did. Doesn't matter who was around. The push didn't allow for that kind of reaction. I think that it's important to know, and the difference in the Allison case, is that there's multiple stabs. He meant to do that. However, in this case, the Carmelo Anthony case, there was one stab. And not only that, there was a stab and then a walk away. He did not grab the knife to go out to do it again. It was just one single stab wound that unfortunately struck the heart. If the jury
And I guess that's the unfortunate part. And then here's the thing. Did they talk? Did the defense attorney talk about the fact of this big guy being over him? This big guy did push him. And they want to talk about hitting the heart, but the fact of the matter is positioning was enough to kind of work against the guy who was fatally wounded, right? Because even though Carmelo was sitting down, when the guy uh, kind of pressed his body over him to hit him or assault him or do whatever he was planning to do, and he intended to do it because he bent down to him. That's the only way Carmelo could have gotten to his heart, because Carmelo is already smaller and then he's sitting down. So you really have to look at everything. And the fact that none of this was addressed during the court case, or none of it was made uh, vitally important, is a cause for concern.
believes that this was a split-second reaction during a confrontation, this could certainly weigh in getting a lesser offense than murder. The prosecution has obviously argued he brought a knife to a track meet. You're not supposed to. He displayed it during the confrontation. He intentionally thrust it in Austin's chest. The chest is an area containing vital organs. So under Texas law, intent to kill can be inferred from using a deadly weapon in a manner capable of causing death. The state doesn't necessarily need a confession saying, I wanted him dead. So when you're looking at this,
True, but how do we know how far that Austin was going to go with his attack had he not been accosted? Another thing is, they said that he brandished the knife, like he showed it, right? Okay, if that were the case, why didn't more people know that he had it and had the ability to use it? Clearly, that wasn't something that was obvious. It was the proximity that Austin was to the young man that got him uh, hit the way that he was hit. Other people were around, but no one knew until Austin told them. These are things that you have to focus on. I mean, let's be honest. Every second of this situation mattered. Everything that happened, every second, every piece of fear, everything. The way he ran exuded that he was afraid. Now, let's say someone turns around and say, "Oh, well, he ran because he was trying to get away." Well, why didn't he go anywhere? He went straight to an adult to tell them what happened. Like he, for all intents and purposes, let's say he did everything the right way, and he still kind of got screwed.
Defense obviously is coming back.
Wait a minute. He did everything the right way except the assault itself. That obviously was wrong, but that is all he had. So we can't say that he did it purposely. He just did whatever he could do to protect himself, and that's all he had to do. He didn't have another option. He could not fight the likes of the two of them, not to mention they said it was 2 to 4 more guys.
And saying self-defense. Austin pushed him first. Supposedly Austin was the one that was very angry that Karmelo Anthony was sitting under this tent. It had been raining. All the kids had tried to get out of the rain. One of the things that will be interesting is that there was one witness who was friends with Karmelo Anthony, who Karmelo was sitting with under the tent. The prosecution did not bring that to light very well. And we can know why. Because the prosecution doesn't want the jury to think that Karmelo had a reason to be there. From what we understand, he did. He claims he had a friend there and they were just there, getting out of the rain. Austin didn't like that. So that's what the defense is now going to do.
And the $1 million question is, why did Austin not like that? Why was that such a big deal to him? Was it because of the fact that he was from another school, or was it because of the fact that this guy who is notable in the athletic scene in their area is a pretty decent athlete? He did play football. If he had any kind of notoriety in that, Austin would have known. Also, obviously both of them ran track, and I think that Karmelo played another sport. Is there something deeper behind that? Why did the defendants, the defense attorney, not explore this? Because it has been suggested that they knew of each other, and if both played football and both were notable football athletes, how could they not? Like, that's just a part of your recon when you're in any kind of sport, to know the notable people. Another thing, it has also been put out that Austin and his brother were very, they used their size, positioning, and reputations to their full advantage. Why was that not made a part of the defense's strategy?
Their goal is now going to prove that Austin initiated physical contact, that Anthony was scared, that this happened in seconds. He didn't intend to kill anyone, and he reacted recklessly, not intentionally. And by doing that, that steers this toward more of a manslaughter or criminally negligent homicide charge. What I think is the biggest obstacle is the fact that Anthony allegedly had the knife at a school sporting event before the confrontation even started. I think that the jurors...
Okay, but so did the other young man. So we're not just talking one case here. We're comparing one case to another. So if you're going to try to convict him of this, you have to first convict the other guy as well. Because the law is le law. The law is the law. The law is the law is the law. So it doesn't matter who the plaintiff is, who the defendant is, the law is the same. So the other boy had it in school in the bathroom. This young man was not at the school. He was at a school event. I know that that's still one and the same, but it really isn't. And if you look at it from this aspect,
tend to look at that as an evidence of awareness, preparedness to use deadly force. If they conclude that he voluntarily brought a deadly weapon into an environment where teenage conflicts are foreseeable, that can be powerful evidence against the defense. It's not against the law in Texas to carry a knife. You can't carry it on school property. That's one of the biggest things. But there's no security.
But here's the thing, did he get charged with that? I thought there was one single charge, and that was the top charge and then the subsequent charges. I did not recall hearing that he got charged with having it at school or any of these other things. So, since that was not a charge of record, then we shouldn't even consider those charges, because I'm sure if that was something notable that we should be discussing, it would be notable and discussed. You see what I'm saying?
Security. There's nobody checking bags at these. You're not going through security. So my takeaway from this is it will be interesting to see how the defense frames this. But I do see a lot of similarities. And after hearing as much as I could about the prosecution's case, because we couldn't watch it live, it was all kind of reported from people that were in the courtroom, is that there's the similarities. And those self-defense, I think, is a weak attempt to get him completely acquitted, because stabbing somebody when, you were pushed probably doesn't equate. I do think the juror has this reasonable doubt of intent and why. And I want to hear your thoughts on it. Let's have a conversation about it. I think a lot of people are back and forth about it, but it's going to be interesting.
So I feel the same way. I feel that, let's have a conversation. What are your thoughts on it? Now, we are not talking about the fact of him committing a crime, and then from there, it caused someone their life. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the comparison of these two cases. Why was one? It's like it should have flip flopped. If anything, the young man who stabbed him several times, who had it in the school after being bullied. They discussed fighting at school, all the things, right? But he got 10 years to where, and they caught him at home trying to get somebody to come pick him up to take him out of town. Yet Carmelo's situation was completely different. He stood tall on his on what he did. He was in a situation that he was clearly the underdog. Clearly. He did not run. He did not deny it. He did show fear in the video. You could hear it in his voice and his affect, all the things. The guy was over him. Clearly, the spacing and the positioning is what really cost him Metcalf, what it cost him, more so than the intent of the young man who committed the act. So, with all of these things included, and we must also admit that the level of cause and effect was grossly differential. Metcalf, if the most could, you know, have beat him up, I guess, I'm assuming. Where, I mean, to be honest, all Carmelo could do is get beat up. He had no fight for them. But was it enough for him to protect himself in the way that he did? That's the $1 million question. So I see a criminal negligent homicide myself, um, more so than what he got. Tell me what you guys think about this. We'll definitely continue the conversation in the comments. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will definitely see you in the next one.